Hi, this is Mark Schwartz. I'm the president and CEO of Stat Recovery Services, and I've been with the company not quite a year yet. Started last August, and my background, don't hate me for it. I was a corporate lawyer for many years, and became an entrepreneur about 25 years ago or so. And really, I've been a CFO, a COO, and a CEO at various technology companies over the past 25 years or so. And I would say about half of that time has been in hardware, and about half of that time has been in software, and certainly a couple of stints along the way in the CPG world.
Hi, my name's Gawronek. I'm the SVP of Technology at Stat Recovery Services. I've been with the company 2 and a bit years. Prior to that, I was also an entrepreneur. I've started my own company 3-4 times now. My background has mainly been, it's been entirely tech leadership in various verticals, from marketing, CPG, 3D, AR even, and more recently, AI and ML, which I'm looking forward to going over a little bit with you.
Well, it'll be interesting to hear your take on this, Jay, but 7-8 years ago, before you or I were even part of Stat, it was focused exclusively in the Walmart ecosystem, and exclusively helping suppliers into Walmart with very specific recovery of deductions.
It was. And it was very manual too, I think.
And that's a great point, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it was Walmart specifically, we've evolved a lot in that direction. I mean, we've had so many conversations about different strategies with different retailers and how we can bring that same value back. I think one of the things that, being a tech guy, and I think you're an honorary tech guy anyway.
Thank you.
Is, aside from the lawyer thing, joking, I think it's the technology is the big change for me. I think you look at Stat and you look how the original founder basically built it with Excel sheets and Excel scripts. And now we've got, hundreds of servers and moving more and more in that direction of analyzing big data and coming up with a far better service than we had before.
Yeah, if you think about it, today, our analytics team and our CX teams have become less of writers and more of readers, and doing actual analysis of data that thanks to you and your team's efforts, and I'd include the analytics team's efforts, have turned manual processes into automated processes using machine learning, using AI.
I think one of the things that's also interesting is, just as a human, we have limits, obviously. Well, you may not, but I do. So when we look at data analysis, it's really hard. Analysts, etc., are building pivot tables, which are very 2D. Now we're able to do comparisons on multidimensional elements of that data, and I don't think that was really hard before. Like, to be able to sort or compare data on multiple axes, you can't even visualize it often. And I think now we're in a place where we've got all this compute power, all this assistance, all this intelligence. And that's obviously, us being embracers of this. That's what's taken us to the next level. I think.
We talk all the time about getting the data, data, collect the data.
We have a guy at work with a hat, get the data.
This is true. If you think about where we are today, now in April of 2026, we've made an acquisition.
Oh yeah.
And the company we acquired, although in a different area of what I would call margin optimization, is still very much thinking along the same ways we do. Absolutely. Getting the data.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm talking about the Moresby Group, and basically Moresby is also working with suppliers, not only into large retailers. They're looking at distributors. They're looking at 3PL companies, logistics companies, the largest in the world, and helping them to create efficiency in their supply chain. And specifically, around gaining cost savings from their supply chain that they on their own, even with fabulous procurement teams, weren't able to do on their own.
Absolutely.
They do it with a small team, and they're really only able to do it because of their own use of technology.
Absolutely. And I think, the amount of times we've brainstormed, whether it's about Moresby or the data, whatever, there's no shortage of things to do or to innovate on.
Yeah.
And I think, when you mention Moresby and margin optimizations, this feels like the sky's the limit. This feels like the new gold rush for me because, this is tech heaven. And I think...
Well, when you think about the vision for what the founders of Stat had for Stat, and now you think about Stat and Moresby together, you put a different lens on that business.
Absolutely.
And now it becomes something that is much greater than what the founders even of Stat had envisioned.
Yeah. Well, even the two companies, I mean, it's greater than the sum of its parts now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a multiplier when we look at how we can use the data between them and utilizing technology that we've built in one space to affect the other.
Yeah. And all to add value for our clients.
Yeah. It is. I know you've always said, customer centric, be very focused on that. And they're the people getting the ultimate value.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy all the tech stuff, but ultimately we're giving them a better service based on having more data, more verticals, more technology, more ways of analyzing, and it's a win-win for everyone. And
so, Jay, we talk about having a revenue intelligence platform.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot.
That provides greater value, as you've said many times, to our client base.
Yeah.
What does the revenue intelligence platform mean to you? How do you think about that?
I look at it, obviously, through the lens of current technology. I hate saying the word AI because it's very buzzwordy, and I think it's a lot more than people think about. But when I consider our intelligence, a revenue intelligence platform, what we have is the ability to analyze sets of data across multiple axes and vast quantities. So rather than just looking at a transaction and figuring things out there, we're not doing that. We're looking at the whole end-to-end of it, the transaction, the purchase, the inventory, the whole thing. And we're considering it from that perspective. And I think that is how I would summarize what it does. I think how we built it, and I don't want to nerd out too much. I know you'll indulge me most of the time anyway.
I will. You know that.
I don't know if these guys are interested in that, but we've got a lot of tech in the background. I was going to touch on security because that's my other passion. Because when we were looking at the intelligence platform, we didn't just think of security as an afterthought. It had to be considered at the beginning.
Right.
You can't just...
Our enterprise clients demand it.
Yeah. And I think, I know I've said this before, but AI might capture all the headlines in the news, but if you read between the lines, security and data security is key. And I think for, our industry, it's all financial data, we just can't afford to not be 110% on all that stuff.
No, I agree. When I think about our revenue intelligence platform...
Yeah, I digress.
No, not at all. I mean, I take for granted that you and your team have built the security and have been thinking about those things as a component of the platform. Yeah. When I think about the revenue intelligence platform, I think about what types of data, insights, and solutions can we provide to our client that they on their own have some challenge to be able to see.
Yeah.
So if you think about a supplier client of ours, a supplier to Target or a supplier to Amazon, there are certain elements of the relationship with that retailer that either they don't consider because they're looking at it through their lens as a supplier, or they don't necessarily have access to. And so we give them additional intelligence by having a layer of data that helps them to see that where they weren't able to see it themselves.
Absolutely. And actionable data.
100%.
I mean, I think we have enough data that's unique to our business, that's unique to what we do, to be able to give a lot of that back. And whether it's predictive or showing weak areas in certain pipelines of theirs or whatever we can do. But we have, as you know, we have masses of data. And obviously it's very private because, some of it belongs to our vendors and we'll never expose that kind of stuff. But we have enough to be able to do a lot of actionable insights. And I think we're going to see a lot more.
I agree with you. I think today the action coming from those insights is real dollars being returned to the client.
100%.
And when you think about it from the Mooresby side of our business, it's the very same thing.
Yeah.
Where their clients have very strong procurement teams typically, and those procurement teams work on a certain portion of their supply chain.
Yeah.
And Mooresby's component of their intelligence is digging deeper into the supply chain than their own teams are able to do.
And they've been so successful. And I think one of the things I really look at them, I think you did a great job, is they've documented a lot of their process really well. And a lot of their data points, I think, are very useful. And obviously those data points are not belonging to their clients and we're not exposing anything, but there's a lot that we can build on with that as well. I think the sky's the limit, I think, with what we've got, the technology we've got, and how we're going to use it. I think we look at today and I think, maybe not I want to sound egotistical, but I think we're far ahead of any of our competitors. And I only see that magnifying 12 months or less.
The biggest component of differentiation for Stat, and we could talk about this, is the fact that we find dollars that others don't see.
Yeah.
And most of the competition, and this is not a knock on our competitors, but most of the competition looks through those same lenses.
Yeah.
Where we've approached it differently, and that's why we're able to recover more dollars.
But
consistently.
I would love to be able to come at it at a slightly different angle. I'd love to want to also show, here's how good we are behind the scenes. Here's how we're innovating. I think that overrides the marketing stuff a little bit. Not that, marketing's super important. But when we were talking about having the hors d'oeuvres and cocktail, I think that was a great opportunity to be able to show off a little bit. And I think those things,
So, Jay, if you think about it, we've talked about our retail intelligence platform.
And
that really
scratched the surface of that as well. We could have kept going.
We did. You're right, and that really is sort of the future of how we see this industry. Our clients are leaning into how do they optimize their revenue growth management. We hear that a lot from our clients. How do you think about that?
I think a lot of, we've talked about it many times. It's come up and, it's one of our many brainstorm sessions. I can't remember how many times, but I think a lot of this comes from utilizing data, but not just the data we've got. There's so much data to consume that enriches and changes everything, I think. As you know, with our new intelligence platform, we have so many data storage areas that allow us to just scale and be able to ingest data at phenomenal rates. And I think, obviously, we're in the retail space and the vendor space, and we're talking about CPG and supply chain and transportation and all kinds of things we can ingest. And I think this all enriches to a much bigger picture where we're able to machine learn or machine train a lot of this stuff. It all goes together to a bigger picture.
And so,
I'm not trying to give away the secret sauce, so it might sound vague.
For our clients, right, our ability to help them optimize their revenue growth management is not only in our ability to recover dollars for them, but also to help them avoid having to go through those processes.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the direction that ultimately we're headed.
I think so. We've got one product that's not been released, so I'm not going to go into that too much, but you know which one I'm talking about.
Of course.
Real time, being able to see what's going on. So our clients or vendors are able to see real time if something's awry or if we can change it, or if we can block it. And I think when you look at the landscape of where we're at, you see our competitors, and we hear a lot of the same buzzwords. Oh, we do DMS. Oh, we do DMS too. But I think the future is far different than that. I think it does go more real time, and we've talked about self-hosted and all kinds of things.
Sure.
Again, I'm probably it's a leak in some of the secrets. Yeah. But
No, this is what our clients have to look forward to, though. It all does fall under optimizing their revenue management, their revenue growth management.
Yeah.
Right. How do we give them more insights?
Absolutely.
How do we help them recover more dollars, and how do we help them avoid having to recover other dollars?
Yeah. Well, we went over that, but with the actionable insights.
Yes.
Right? I think there's a lot to come from us in the next 12 months, without a doubt. I mean, the stuff that we can't show yet, or the stuff we're working on in the background, I think it's night and day with our competitors. I hate to sound like a sales commercial, but I mean, it's important to us to know, what this landscape is, so we know where to take it. And I definitely think we're taking it in a direction that only benefits, the customers and separates us and adds to the moat.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and when you decide to host the stacked wine and hors d'oeuvres party,
at Rex's place.